So the other day, Sayadaw explained based on what is mentioned in Paṇḍitā Magga. So in Paṇḍitā Magga, it is said that Līnaṃ cittaṃ kausajjanupatitaṃ. Līna cittaṃ means the mind that is led, flinching away from practice, not exerting effort, but becoming led, sluggish, flinching, withdrawing, and worry that if one practices with effort, then one will tire oneself out physically and mentally, and thus one does not want to put effort, one becomes led. So this kind of mind is called Līna citta, the mind that is led, flinching, not wanting to put effort. So if the mind is led, then kausajja, laziness, will follow. So if there is laziness, then one will not gain samadhi, concentration. So lack of viriya, lack of effort, samadhi, concentration will not develop, and the noting mind will not stick to the object of meditation, and thus sati, mindfulness, cannot arise. So by putting effort, the noting mind will stick to the object, sati, mindfulness, will develop, and there will be collectedness of mind. But if one does not put effort, if one is lazy, then samadhi, concentration, cannot develop. So that's why this Līna citta, or the mind that is led, followed by laziness, is a danger to concentration. So this laziness, lack of mind, is a danger to concentration. So when there is this danger, then one will not go on a straight path to practice. The path to practice will not be straight. Instead, the yogi will not develop knowledge. So, not developing knowledge, one cannot overcome wrong views. If the person does not discern nama and rupa, mind and matter distinctly, then there will be wrong view, taking that it is a being, a person, man, woman, and then one will think that there is atta, a soul in one's body. Only by discerning distinctly between nama, rupa, mind and matter, one will overcome the view of personality, and by understanding the cause and effect, one will overcome the causeless view. And knowing that relative cause is giving relative effect, then one will overcome the view of creator, and one will also overcome that unrelative cause is giving effect to unrelative effect. So one is overcoming visama hetuka tikti, the wrong view, believing in unrelative causes. So by understanding the cause and effect, one will overcome the wrong view of Maha Brahma creating. And when one discerns the impermanence of this nama rupa phenomena, one will overcome the view of permanence. And seeing suffering, one will overcome the view of good and happy. And one will overcome the view of impermanence, good and happy. So understanding the true nature, seeing the impermanence of the object, seeing the dissolution of the object, one will overcome the view of atta stage by stage, and this person is going smoothly, straightly on the path of Dhamma. So, when the yogi develops Vipassana knowledge, stage by stage, and finally, when the yogi has realized the extinction, the cessation, this yogi has overcome the defilements that can lead the person to be born in lower existences. Even though one cannot eradicate all the defilements by attaining the first stage of discernment into cessation, one will be able to overcome the low kind of or gross kind of defilements that can lead to lower existences. So by attaining or by realizing the cessation, one is overcoming this gross kilesa defilements, one is eradicating the defilements that can lead to lower existences, and one is said to be freeing oneself from the gravity of defilements that can lead to lower existence. So getting to this stage, it can be said that it is worthy of becoming a human being, coming across the Buddha Sasana, and it can be said that it is worthy of meeting this Buddhist culture as a human being. So to get to this stage, one should not be lazy. So if one is lazy, then one cannot get to this stage. So one must not accept laziness, and one must not take off this practice as very tiring or difficult. Only if one can put effort, then one will gain the kind of peace that has a guarantee. So that's why it is very important to exert effort. So Sayadaw has been explaining so that yogis will become possessor of viriya, and Sayadaw has been explaining from theoretical and practical aspect to get the answer. And today also Sayadaw will explain differentiating the laziness and the viriya. So Lina Citta is the mind that is less flinching, withdrawing, so it is mixed with laziness. So when there is laziness in the worldly kind of work and Dhamma work, whichever it is, then one will not progress. One will not make progress. So the one who has a lax mind is a lazy person. So there are two kinds of laziness. The first one is laziness, not wanting to do any work in the worldly task. And also the second one is laziness in the Dhamma. So Sayadaw will not talk on the first one, but Sayadaw will explain on the second one, laziness in the Dhamma. So laziness in the Dhamma means lazy to do wholesome deed. Lazy to do wholesomeness, which is blameless, pure, beneficial, the kind of wholesomeness that is praiseworthy by the wise, which is pure, clean, gentle, and lovable. So, if one is lazy to do this wholesomeness, he, she will lose. So, the kind of wholesome work that is blameless, gentle, pure, clean, praiseworthy, it is called wholesomeness work. Work for wholesomeness. So the person who is lazy to do wholesome deed. Even if he, she gets the chance or opportunity to do the wholesome deed, he, she will not do by himself, but will ask other people to do it. And there are many kinds of laziness, especially in practicing the high-class level wholesomeness, Satipatthana meditation. There are those who are lazy to listen to the Dhamma talk, who are lazy to read Dhamma books. And also in the practicing of Satipatthana meditation, which is a high-class practice, some people are lazy, saying that practicing meditation in a meditation center will lose sleep. One has to get up so early in the morning. And also eating, sleeping in a meditation center is not sufficient. One has to control everything, making do with whatever food or accommodation is available. So having these excuses, some people are not only lazy, but they even freak out from the practice. They even become chicken out or become afraid to join the meditation retreat. So some of the persons who come to the meditation retreat, instead of practicing diligently without regard to one's body and life, some of the yogis are practicing lazily. Some of the yogis are practicing in stop-and-go manner, not practicing continuously, but some lazy yogis are practicing intermittently. At times they will practice, they will note. At times they are resting. At times they are thinking, imagining. At times they are gazing. So these lazy ones are not practicing continuously. If one is not practicing continuously, if there are gaps between the noting, if there are gaps between the concentration, then one is not developing concentration, and Vipassana knowledge will not develop. If one is not developing Vipassana knowledge, then one cannot free oneself out of the samsara. One cannot free oneself out of round of existence. So this laziness is called kosaja. In Pali, it is called kosaja. So when the mind becomes less, flinching, withdrawing, then this laziness follows. So all kinds of laziness will follow a lax mind. Not putting effort in the practice, there will also be lack of mindfulness, sati. When mindfulness, sati, is absent, then one will not have any protection from the defilements. Because mindfulness, sati, protects the defilements from coming into the mind. So when mindfulness is absent, then kilesa defilements will enter the mind, and these kilesa defilements will be disturbing, perturbing the mind. So the mind is left uncontrolled. So what will happen? Lack of control, lack of mindfulness. One will indulge in lobha, greed. One can also indulge in dosa, greed, dosa, hatred. And at times one will indulge in delusion. So by indulging in these defilements such as lobha, dosa, moha, one will end up committing bad things by body, speech and mind. So that's why it is very important to assert effort from the very beginning of the practice. So if laziness gets in from the very beginning of the practice, then she will not make progress. So Sayadaw will explain laziness and viriya, comparing these two opposites. So practicing Satipatthana meditation is to develop the pure, clean, wholesome mind and to develop knowledge, so that the mind will become from small to big, from tender to ripe, from weak to strong, and also to strengthen the knowledge. So in order to strengthen the mind, in order to develop the mental strength, one needs to understand that Satipatthana practice is not something that is small. So Satipatthana practice can have great benefits such as becoming an arahat. So this Satipatthana practice can lead one to become an arahat. And there are benefits of Satipatthana practice such as purification of the mind, overcoming of sorrow, lamentation, and also dispelling physical and mental distress. So if one looks at it ordinarily, one will think it is so casual, just rising and falling. But in fact, if you really practice according to the method, one will really get the benefit. So one should understand the benefits of Satipatthana meditation. By knowing the benefits of Satipatthana meditation from learning, one has to awaken one's faith and confidence. So by learning the benefit of practice, one should awaken faith and confidence, and one must have a strong will to get the benefits of Satipatthana practice. So having strong will to practice, then one can put effort, one is able to put effort in the practice so that one will get the benefits of practice. So one should have viriya, effort. One should have courage to learn the correct method of practice. One should learn from listening, from reading, and also from discussion. So during the practice, one should discuss their experience with the meditation teacher. So one should have the courage to explain to the meditation teacher about his or her experience through the practice. And one should have courage to note on the presently arising object without missing, without failing. And one should have the courage in the practice, not being afraid to, not having this fear of tiring oneself, or not fearing illness or death during the practice. So yogi should have courage to do sitting and walking meditation. So one should put effort, initial effort, and also effort to overcome laziness. So when this effort, viriya, is present, then kilesa, defilement, will not be accepted. Having viriya present, this viriya will not accept kilesa, defilement, from entering in the mind. So the mind will be free from these pollutants. The mind will be pure, clean, and thus serene faith will develop. So by practicing Satipatthana meditation, knowledge will be developed stage by stage. And at the stage of Udayataya Jnana, insight into arising and passing away of the object, one understands through one's own practice that this Dhamma happiness, Dhamma Rati or Dhamma happiness, Dhamma pleasure, excels so many times than the worldly pleasure. So when the yogi gets to the stage of Udayataya Jnana, no other person has to encourage this yogi anymore, because this yogi has gained faith and confidence in the practice. He or she has gained faith and confidence through practice. So attaining this knowledge of Udayataya Jnana, yogi automatically develops faith and confidence in the practice, and also on the Buddha who found out this way to practice. So he, she had developed this faith and confidence amazingly. And once the yogi has attained Magga Phala Jnana, path and fruition knowledge, his or her faith and confidence will become firm. So by practicing, this saddha will develop stage by stage, and also viriya, effort, will gain momentum. So when the yogi has overcome the difficulties in the practice, yogi becomes even more courageous. His or her effort will gain momentum. So when his or her effort gains momentum, the effort will not go down, the effort will not stagnate, but instead the effort will go up and up. So his or her mindfulness will stick to the object of meditation. In Pali it is called Supatita. It means the mindfulness become firmly established on the object of meditation. When the mindfulness becomes sustained, then samadhi, concentration, will become strong also. So when there is samadhi, collectedness of mind, the noting mind is direct or face to face with the object, and thus the yogi discerns distinctly on the nature of the object, and the yogi also develops knowledge. So yogi should put effort. So at this stage, yogi is able to note even the smallest activity, even the smallest object. And at this stage, yogi's mindfulness is so strong, and he, she also develops moral shame and moral fear, having shame and fear to lose to note. So at this stage, yogi have moral shame and moral fear to have kilesa defilements that can arise, lack of mindfulness. So at this stage, yogi feels shame and fear to miss to note the object, to fail to note the object, and also to have kilesa that can arise by lack of mindfulness. So at this stage, yogi is developing moral shame and moral fear amazingly. So she being afraid to fail to note, so his or her viriya becomes very strong. These are the benefits of Satipatthana practice. So putting effort, initial effort and step up effort in order to overcome the laziness, the effort becomes very strong and the yogi becomes very brave. So at this stage of practice, yogi experiences the Dhamma pleasure, which excels so many times than the worldly pleasure. So at this stage, yogi understands through his or her experience that Dhamma pleasure is so many times better than the worldly pleasure. So when this happens, yogi does not want to leave the practice. Yogi does not want to leave the practice. So his or her mental strength becomes very strong so that his or her mind becomes from small to big, from gentle to matured. So if one does not get the benefits because she does not exert effort, this person becomes detestable because this person is lazy, slow, not putting effort, so she is not getting the benefit. So his or her behavior, being slow, lazy, sluggish to work, his or her behavior is called kusita. Kusita means detestable due to laziness. So if one exerts effort, she will gain the benefits. She will possess these benefits. But if one does not put effort, being lazy, lax, flinching, withdrawing from the practice, his or her behavior becomes detestable. So it comes to conclusion that not getting the benefit is because of laziness, sluggishness. So if one puts effort in the practice, one will get benefit. If one does not put sufficient effort, she does not get the result or the benefit. So the yogi who is lazy, not putting effort, not getting the benefit of practice, will be criticized, blamed by others, especially the meditation teachers. So being lazy, she will get the blame, criticism, swearing, cursing, and so on. So kusita means a detestable person who is lazy, not exerting effort. So being lazy, one will not get the benefit. Not getting the benefit, being lazy, she will get all the blame, criticism, swearing, and cursing. the yogi who is practicing diligently will get satisfaction, and also the surrounding other person who look at him or her will get satisfied to see yogi practicing diligently. So this yogi who practices diligently will become a role model yogi who will be a good example to others. Practicing diligently, his or her behavior will not be blameworthy. It will not draw criticism from others. So if others get to see the yogi who is practicing diligently, who is always ready, alert to note the presently arising object, how satisfying, how pleasing it will be to see such kind of yogi. Especially the meditation teachers will feel very satisfied to see this kind of yogi who practices diligently. So if this kind of diligent yogi comes here for practice, if there are tens or even hundreds of yogis, diligent yogis come here for practice, we don't mind at all. There will not be a burden when even hundreds of yogis, diligent yogis come here for practice. So when the yogi practicing this high-class Satipatthana practice, meditation, without slow in the practice, without being lazy in the practice, it will be very satisfying. So the yogi who practices very diligently will be free from detestable behavior. Seeing yogi practicing even the smallest movement or activity with care and attention, full attention, practicing diligently, meticulously. And also yogi who is doing every activity such as sitting, standing, bending, stretching, slowly, mindfully, not looking here and there. Seeing this kind of yogi, the person who sees will feel very satisfied. So the behavior of this yogi is not blameworthy. He, she will not be blamed by the surrounding. He, she will not be blamed by the meditation teachers as well. So yogis who are here, may you all be able to refrain from detestable behavior of laziness. And may you all be able to free. May you all be the person who do not make. May you be the person who is not the person who is not making any progress, working very in a very easy stop and go manner. So Jaraji wishes that may you all be the person who are practicing, progressing very well in the practice, so that you will not be blamed by others, you will not be blamed by meditation teachers. May you all be role model yogis who are good example to others.